Good morning, students. I am Riya Sinha, your teacher. Today we will discuss our second chapter of civics, that is understanding secularism. Imagine yourself as a Hindu or Muslim living in a part of the United States of America where Christians fundamentalism is very powerful. Mainly in USA, Christianity is there. Suppose that despite being a US citizen, no one is willing to rent their house to you. How would this make you feel? Would it not make you feel resentful? Obviously, कहीं पे अगर हम लोग जाते हैं और वहाँ पे हमें सारी फैसिलिटीज़ अवेलेबल अगर ना हो या हमें रहने के लिए कोई घर ना देना चाहे, then we feel resentful. What if you decided to complain against this discrimination and were told to go back to India? Would this not make you feel angry? Obviously, your anger could take two forms. First, you might react by saying that Christians should get the same treatment in places where Hindus and Muslims are in a majority. This is a form of retaliation. Or you might take the view that there should be justice for all. You may fight stating that no one should be discriminated against on grounds of their religious practices and beliefs. This statement rests on the assumption that all forms of domination related to religion should end. This is the essence of secularism. In this chapter, we will read more about what secularism means. History provides us with many examples of discrimination, exclusion, and persecution on the grounds of religion. You may have read about how Jews were persecuted in Hitler's Germany and how several millions were killed. Now, however, the Jewish state of Israel treats its own Muslim and Christian minorities quite badly. Similarly, in Saudi Arabia, non-Muslims are not allowed to build a temple, church, etc., and nor can they gather in a public place for prayers. So, in all the above examples, members of one religious community either persecute or discriminate against members of other religious communities. These acts of discrimination take place more easily when one religion is given official recognition by the state at the expense of other religions. डिस्क्रिमिनेशन या भेदभाव हमेशा वहीं पे ज़्यादा देखा जाता है जहाँ पे एक रिलीजन मेजॉरिटी में हो या एक कोई पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप मेजॉरिटी में हो और दूसरा माइनॉरिटी में रहता है. मोस्टली वो खुद को सुपर पावर दिखाने के लिए, सुपीरियर दिखाने के लिए दूसरे पे इन्फोर्स करने की कोशिश करते हैं. सो क्लियरली नो वन वुड विश टू बी डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड अगेंस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ देयर रिलीजन nor dominated by another religion. In India, can the state discriminate against citizens on grounds of their religion? क्या इंडिया में ऐसा हो सकता है इस तरह का discrimination? Now the question comes, what is secularism? In the previous chapter also we read about how the Indian Constitution contains fundamental rights that protect us against state power as well as against the tyranny of the majority. The Indian Constitution allows individuals the freedom to live by their religious beliefs and practices as they interpret these. In keeping with this idea of religious freedom for all, India also adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of the state. So, secularism refers to this separation of religion from the state. सेक्युलरिज्म बेसिकली कहा जाता है जब किसी भी एक पर्टिकुलर कंट्री का कोई भी ऑफिशियल रिलीजन नहीं होता है, लाइक आर इंडिया. यहाँ पे कोई भी ऑफिशियल रिलीजन नहीं है. हर एक इंडियन सिटीज़न को ये राइट है कि वो अपने अकॉर्डिंग अपना रिलीजन चूज़ कर सकते हैं, उसे प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. इसके लिए कोई भी उन्हें फोर्स नहीं कर सकता है. इवन सपोज़ अगर आपका बर्थ एक हिंदू फैमिली में हुआ है एंड इफ़ यू वांट टू convert it into Muslim or Christianity, then you can do that. Now, why is it important to separate religion from the state? As discussed above, the most important aspects of secularism is its separation of religion from state power. This is important for a country to function democratically. Almost all countries of the world will have more than one religious group living in them. Within these religious groups, there will most likely be one group that is in a majority. If this majority religious group has access to state power, then it could quite easily use this power and financial resources to discriminate against and persecute persons of other religions. This tyranny of the majority could result in the discrimination, coercion, and at times even the killing of religious minorities. The majority could quite easily prevent minorities from practicing their religions. Any form of domination based on religion is in violation of the right that a democratic society guarantees to each and every citizen, irrespective of their religion. Therefore, the tyranny of the majority and the violation of fundamental rights that can result is one reason why is it important to separate the state and religion in democratic societies. अगर किसी कंट्री में एक ही ऑफिशियल रिलीजन रखा जाएगा तो ऑब्वियस है कि उस कंट्री में जो भी उस रिलीजन को फॉलो करने वाले लोग हैं वो खुद को सुपीरियर समझने लगेंगे और दूसरे को ओवर पार करने की कोशिश करेंगे, दूसरे को डिस्क्रिमिनेट करने की कोशिश करेंगे. Another reason is that it is important to separate religion from the state in democratic society because we also need to protect the freedom of individuals to exit from their religions, embrace another religion, or have the freedom to interpret religious teachings differently. सेकेंड रीज़न ये बताया गया है कि हर एक इंडिविजुअल को ये छूट होनी चाहिए कि वो अपने मन के अकॉर्डिंग, अपने विल के अकॉर्डिंग वो किसी भी रिलीजन को फॉलो कर सके, दूसरे के रिलीजन को वो एम्ब्रेस कर सके, किसी को वो नीचा ना समझे, हर एक रिलीजन को हर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इक्वल समझा जाए. फॉर understanding this point better, let us take the example of untouchability. You might feel that you dislike this practice within Hinduism and therefore you want to try and reform it. However, if state power were in the hands of those Hindus who support untouchability, then do you think that you would have an easy task to try and change this? अनटचेबिलिटी जो हमारी सोसाइटी में चलता आया था, छुआछूत, अगर देखा जाए तो वो हिंदुज़म में था. अगर इंडिया को एक हिंदू डोमिनेटेड कंट्री बनाया जाता तो ऑब्वियसली अगर वैसे हिंदूज़ यहाँ पे रहते तो अनटचेबिलिटी आज भी यहाँ पे प्रैक्टिस किया जाता. सो these members who have control of state power might say that there is only one interpretation of Hinduism and you do not have the freedom to interpret this differently. What is Indian secularism? Indian secularism क्या है? The Indian Constitution mandates that the Indian states be secular. According to the Constitution, only a secular state can realize its objectives to ensure the following. हमारे all can practice any religion whatever we want. So, here objectives are given. First is that one religious community does not dominate another. ऐसा इसलिए किया गया है, उसकी फॉलोइंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स दी गई हैं. फर्स्ट है जिससे कोई भी रिलीजियस कम्युनिटी दूसरे कम्युनिटी को डोमिनेट ना कर सके. सेकेंड इज दैट सम मेंबर्स डू नॉट डोमिनेट अदर मेंबर्स ऑफ द सेम रिलीजियस कम्युनिटी. एक ही रिलीजियस कम्युनिटी के कुछ मेंबर्स दूसरे मेंबर्स को डोमिनेट करने की कोशिश ना कर पाएँ. that the state does not enforce any particular religion nor take away the religious freedom of individuals. स्टेट कभी भी एक पर्टिकुलर रिलीजन को फेवर ना कर सके और ना तो किसी एक पर्टिकुलर रिलीजन को कोई रिलीजियस फ्रीडम मिल पाए और ना तो किसी इंडिविजुअल से कोई रिलीजियस फ्रीडम छीना जा सके. सो these are the objectives. The Indian state works in various ways to prevent the above domination. First, it uses a strategy of distancing itself from religion. The Indian state is not ruled by a religious group and nor does it support any one religion. In India, government spaces like law courts, police station, government schools and offices are not supposed to display or promote any religion. Indian storyboard, which is given in your book, the celebration of the religious festival within the school would have been a violation of the government policy of treating all religions equally. Government schools cannot promote any one religion either in their morning prayers or through religious celebrations. This rule does not apply to private schools. The second way in which Indian secularism works to prevent the above domination is through a strategy of non-interference. दूसरा जो strategy यहाँ पे apply किया गया, that is the strategy of non-interference, कि कोई भी interfere नहीं करेगा किसी के भी religion में. This means that in order to respect the sentiments of all religions and not interfere with religious practices, the state makes certain exceptions for particular religious communities. So, again a story is given here. Paramjeet, the Sikh youth, does not have to wear a helmet. This is because the Indian state recognizes that wearing a pagdi or turban is central to a Sikh's religious practice, and in order not to interfere with this, allows an exception in the law. Third way in which Indian secularism works to prevent the domination listed earlier is through a strategy of intervention. Third strategy is a strategy of intervention. You read earlier in this chapter about untouchability. This is a good example where members of the same religion, upper caste Hindus, dominate the members which they used to call lower caste Hindus. In order to prevent this religion-based exclusion and discrimination of lower caste, the Indian Constitution bans untouchability. In this instance, the state is intervening in religion in order to end a social practice that it believes discriminates and excludes and that violates the fundamental rights of lower caste who are citizens of this country. Similarly, to ensure the laws relating to equal inheritance rights are respected, the state may have to intervene in the religion-based personal laws of communities. The intervention of the state can also be in the form of support. ये जो intervention है state का, ये support के form में भी हो सकता है. The Indian Constitution grants the right to religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. It also gives them financial aid on non-preferential basis. हर religious community को इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की तरफ से ये राइट दिया गया है कि वो अपने स्कूल, अपने कॉलेज या अपने धर्म से रिलेटेड वो जिस तरह की भी प्रैक्टिस करना चाहें वो कर सकते हैं. इसमें उनको कहीं से कोई भी रोक टोक नहीं किया जाएगा. In fact, if they want financial help from the state or from the country, then they used to help them also. In what way is Indian secularism different from that of other democratic countries? अब other democratic country के comparison में Indian secularism different कैसे है? Some of the above objectives are similar to those that have been included in the constitution of secular democratic countries in the parts of the world. For example, the first amendment of the US Constitution prohibits the legislature from making laws respecting an establishment of religion or that prohibit the free exercise of religion. Now, what is meant by the word establishment is that the legislature cannot declare any religion as the official religion. This is one significant way in which Indian secularism differs from the dominant understanding of secularism as practiced in the USA. This is because, unlike the strict separation between religion and the state in American secularism, in Indian secularism the state can intervene in religious affairs. Now, in order to abolish untouchability in Indian secularism, though the state is not strictly separate from religion, it does maintain a principled distance through religion. This means that any interference in religion by the state has to be based on the ideals laid out in the Constitution. These ideals serve as the standard through which we can judge whether the state is or is not behaving according to secular principles. The Indian state is secular and works in various ways to prevent religious domination. The Indian Constitution guarantees fundamental rights that are based on these secular principles. However, this is not to say that there is no violation of these rights in Indian society. Indeed, it is precisely because such violations happen frequently that we need a constitutional mechanism to prevent them from happening. The knowledge that such right exists makes us sensitive to their violation and enables us to take action when these violations take place. Thank you.